By now, you have likely seen the headlines. On December 15th, Nuno Loureiro, a world-renowned physicist and the director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, was found shot dead in the foyer of his Brookline home. The official story? A simple domestic dispute, but we know better than to trust the surface of things. Is this a private tragedy, or is someone out there tying up loose ends? We are talking about the secret to free energy, a multi-billion-dollar connection to Donald Trump, a convenient, case-closed investigation, and the looming shadow of nuclear bombs. The pieces of the puzzle do not fit the narrative they sold you. It is time to look at what they are hiding in the dark. I'm Anonymous, and this is Conspiracy Anonymous. On the evening of December 15th, 2025, at approximately 8:30 p.m., the quiet neighborhood of Gibbs Street in Brookline, Massachusetts, was shattered by the sound of gunfire. Residents of the safe neighborhood reported hearing 3 loud bangs, noises so violent they were mistaken for a door being kicked in. In the foyer of an apartment building, police discovered 47-year-old Nuno Loureiro suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Despite the best efforts of first responders and medical staff, he passed away the following morning. The shockwaves of his death moved instantly from the quiet streets of Brookline to the highest halls of power at MIT. To the world, he was a faculty member. To the elite, he was the director of the Plasma Science and Fusion Center, the man holding the keys to the future of energy. The narrative the investigators handed to the press is a story designed to be swallowed without chewing. They want you to believe in the ghost of Claudio Neves Valente, a former student, a man with a supposed fixation. The official report claims that Neva Valente, a man with a doctorate of his own, waited in the shadows of Gibbs Street to execute his former mentor, only to take his own life shortly after in a New Hampshire storage unit. It is a tragedy. It is simple. And for the authorities, it is a perfect closed loop. No trial, no testimony, no discovery process. But the cleanup goes even deeper. To make the narrative truly airtight, authorities announced that this shooting was linked to the massacre at Brown University just 2 days prior. On December 13th, 2025, a gunman opened fire in a lecture hall, killing 2 students and wounding 9 others. The official story? Neve Valente was responsible for both. Brother, come on. Does anyone really buy that? How convenient. This connection serves as a tidy curtain to hide a massive failure of law enforcement. They allowed a mass shooter to walk off an Ivy League campus in broad daylight and escape without being caught. For 2 whole days, while they fumbled the investigation, the killer was supposedly free to evade authorities and eliminate one of the world's most important physicists, just 50 miles from the campus. Instead of admitting to a catastrophic breakdown in public safety, the authorities simply tied the 2 cases together with a bow. By pinning both on a dead man who can no longer speak, they silenced the questions about how a high-profile physicist was left unprotected during a regional manhunt. We are told he was a lone wolf with a fixation. I say he was the perfect tool for a clean sweep. In the world of intelligence, if you want a scandal to go away, you don't solve it. You merge it with another. 2 crimes, 1 dead suspect, case closed. But when the official story is this tidy, you can be certain it was manufactured to hide the mess underneath. The authorities want you to look at the gunman. They want you to focus on a closed case file and a dead suspect. But to understand why the official story is a lie, you must look at the target. You must understand the magnitude of the man they took from us. I am going to peel back the curtain on Nuno Loureiro's life and his work, so you can see for yourself the sheer weight of what was at stake. When you realize who he was and what he was about to achieve, the simple domestic dispute narrative doesn't just fall apart. It becomes an insult to your intelligence. Let us look at the man who was on the verge of changing the world, before the world decided it was done with him. Born in 1977 in Portugal, Nuno Loureiro spent his life mastering the invisible forces of the universe. By 2005, he held a doctorate in physics. He moved from the prestigious halls of Princeton to the Culham Center for Fusion Energy in the United Kingdom, before returning to Portugal to lead advanced plasma research. In 2016, he joined MIT. His obsession, magnetic reconnection and plasma turbulence, the violent, chaotic energy that powers the stars. By 2021, he was a full professor of physics, deeply embedded in the Department of Nuclear Science and Engineering and the Kavli Institute. His brilliance was so undeniable that in January of 2025, he stood before the President of the United States to receive the Presidential Early Career Award, the highest honor the government can bestow upon a scientist. To understand why Loureiro was a target, you must understand the fire he was trying to tame. As the director of the Plasma Science and Fusion Center, he wasn't just managing a lab. He was the commanding officer of the most important energy front in human history. His life's work centered on a phenomenon called magnetic reconnection. In the simplest terms, this is the process that triggers solar flares on the sun, a violent, explosive release of energy caused by magnetic fields snapping and reconfiguring. Loureiro was the master of this chaos. He was learning how to bottle the sun. If you can master magnetic reconnection, you can stabilize plasma. And if you can stabilize plasma, you unlock the Holy Grail, limitless, clean energy. But he wasn't just theorizing, he was building. Loureiro was a driving force behind the SPARC reactor. This is not a science fiction dream. It is a physical machine slated for completion in 2026. Its goal, to be the first device in history to achieve net energy gain, to produce significantly more power than it takes to run. Think about what that means for the status quo. The spark reactor was designed to prove that the age of oil, coal, and gas is obsolete. The power to fuel the entire planet for 1 billion years was less than 12 months away from being proven by a man who was just found dead in his hallway. Loureiro was the gatekeeper to a world where energy is no longer a commodity to be sold, but a right to be claimed. He was the man who was about to break the chains of the global energy monopoly, and in the eyes of those who hold the keys, that made him the most dangerous man on Earth. Loureiro wasn't just a teacher. He wasn't just a researcher. He was a titan of industry who taught the very theories that govern fusion systems. When a man of this stature, a man recognized by the White House and the global scientific community, is suddenly removed from the equation, you must ask yourself, who benefits from his silence? Loureiro was a high-profile architect of the new world, and in that world, knowledge is the most dangerous weapon of all. Follow the calendar, and the pattern begins to emerge. On December 15th, 2025, the gatekeeper of the public sector's fusion research is eliminated. Only 3 days later, on December 18th, 2025, a massive financial earthquake strikes. The Trump Media and Technology Group, the parent company of Truth Social, founded by Donald Trump, the President of the United States, announces a $6 billion merger with TAE Technologies. This is not just another corporate acquisition. This is the marriage of a political empire and a private nuclear titan. TAE Technologies is a frontrunner in the race for fusion energy. By merging with the Trump brand, they have created one of the world's first publicly traded fusion giants. They are no longer just a research firm. They are a political instrument of what they call energy dominance. This is the cornerstone of a new platform. The idea that the nation who controls the first working fusion reactor controls the global economy for the next century. This isn't about saving the environment. It is about the AI revolution. Fusion power is the only thing capable of feeding the insatiable hunger of the massive data centers required for artificial intelligence. But Loureiro was an obstacle. As the director of the MIT Center, he held the scientific authority to validate or to expose the claims of private companies. He had expressed caution about the rapid commercialization timelines pushed by private interests. In the world of high-stakes mergers, a cautious expert is a liability. Was Nuno Loureiro standing in the way of a multi-billion-dollar monopoly? When the government and private corporations align under the banner of national security and energy dominance, the line between public progress and private profit disappears. In that shadow, a world-class physicist becomes a loose end, and loose ends are always tied up before the deal is signed. But to find the true motive, we must venture beyond the world of finance and into the realm of forbidden science. What if the fusion energy they are selling us is merely a controlled substitute for something far more revolutionary? There is a distinction between controlled energy and free energy. The world is being prepared for nuclear fusion, a system that still requires a massive, centralized grid and a meter on the side of your house. But theorists speak of zero-point energy, a way to tap into the very fabric of space-time. This would mean energy that is decentralized, wireless, and completely free. Loureiro's mastery of plasma was the bridge between these two worlds. Was he killed to ensure that the meter stays on? To ensure that humanity remains dependent on a power grid owned by the elite? The rabbit hole goes even deeper. Loureiro was a world authority on the physics of solar flares. He understood, better than almost anyone, how the sun interacts with the Earth's magnetosphere. We are currently witnessing a documented weakening of the Earth's magnetic field, a precursor to a geomagnetic pole shift. Such an event would render our current electronics useless and leave the planet vulnerable to solar radiation. Did Loureiro know the real timeline? Was he working on a way to shield our civilization using plasma technology? Or was he silenced because he realized the elite's energy dominance plans were a cover for building high-tech bunkers for themselves while the rest of us are left in the dark? This leads to the most radical theory of all. The idea that Loureiro's mastery of plasma physics led him to a conclusion that would shatter the very foundations of modern history. For 80 years, the world has lived in the shadow of the nuclear bomb. Grainy footage of mushroom clouds, plenty of official documentation, and the story of the Cold War paint a picture of the world's most terrifying threat. But a vocal group of theorists argues that the same physics which makes stable fusion so difficult actually proves that large-scale nuclear bombs are a scientific impossibility. Think about it. It wouldn't be the first time the government has used fear tactics and lied to us. They claim that nuclear deterrence is a psychological operation, a way for governments to maintain global order through the ultimate fear of total annihilation. What do the theorists say proves the atomic age is a grand illusion? Many point to what they call the radiation paradox. They ask how Hiroshima and Nagasaki cities allegedly leveled by nuclear fire were able to be rebuilt and inhabited almost immediately, while the site of the Chernobyl power plant accident remains a toxic wasteland decades later. They point to the Lookout Mountain Film Studio in Hollywood, a secret military facility that produced thousands of classified films of nuclear tests, and argue that these iconic mushroom clouds were created using high-speed photography of massive conventional TNT explosions. Furthermore, they highlight the lack of genuine, unedited footage of a nuclear weapon actually being dropped from an airplane and detonating in a single, continuous shot. To these skeptics, the firebombing of Japan was repackaged as a superweapon to create a psychological cage for the rest of the world, a nuclear mirage designed to make the masses believe their leaders possess the power of the gods. Could it be possible the lie has persisted for decades, and was Loureiro the man holding the keys to the proof? I'll leave that to you to decide. Under this theory, Loureiro wasn't just a physicist. He was a man who had gathered the proof that the destructive power of nuclear weapons is a carefully crafted myth. By perfecting the containment of high-energy plasma, he may have found that the chain reaction required for a city-leveling bomb cannot actually happen in the way the public has been told. If a scientist of his stature was about to blow the lid on the fake bomb narrative, the entire structure of international geopolitics would have crumbled overnight. He was moving toward a world of energy based on abundance, while the powers that be require a world based on the fear of fire. Was Nuno Loureiro's murderer, Claudio Valente, a man driven by a quarter-century of resentment? Or was he a convenient proxy used to ensure that the secrets of the MIT labs never reached the public? Was Loureiro killed because he was about to provide the world the secrets of free energy? Or because he was about to tell us that our greatest fears were lies? In the official record, Nuno Loureiro is a victim of a tragic, personal rivalry. But in the world of the unseen, he is a martyr for a truth that was too dangerous to let live. A man who spent his life trying to power a better world, only to have his own journey cut short in the dark. The death of Nuno Loureiro is not the first of its kind. It is merely the latest chapter in a long, dark history of scientific suppression. History is littered with the bodies of visionaries who reached for the stars, only to be pulled back into the earth. Think of Stefan Marinov, the physicist who challenged the laws of electrodynamics and fell from a library building in Austria. Think of Eugene Malov, the MIT graduate and cold fusion advocate who was beaten to death in his own driveway just as his research was gaining ground. Think of Stanley Meyer, who collapsed outside a restaurant screaming, "They poisoned me," after demonstrating a water-powered engine. The pattern is clear. When a scientist nears a breakthrough that threatens the global energy monopoly, when they hold the key to freeing humanity from the chains of debt and dependence, they become a tragedy. They become a lone wolf victim. They become a suicide. Citizens of the world, we are standing at a crossroads. While they keep you distracted with the noise of political theater, while they encourage you to argue over the daily headlines, they are quietly consolidating the power of the sun itself. Do not be blinded by the case-closed stamps of the Brookline police. Do not be mesmerized by the glossy press releases of $6 billion mergers. The story they gave you is a shroud. Look past the narrative, question the timing, demand the data that Nuno Loureiro was silenced for protecting. We are moving toward a new age, a transition of power, unlike anything humanity has seen since the discovery of fire. But the question remains, will it be an age of absolute freedom, or a new era of digital and energetic serfdom? The truth is not hidden. It is merely ignored by those who are too afraid to look into the dark. I have shown you the pieces. I have revealed the pattern. Now, it is up to you to finish the puzzle. The future is watching. What will you choose to see? Thank you for listening to Conspiracy Anonymous. In these uncertain times, stay vigilant. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If you found value in this investigation, like and subscribe to join our search for the truth. Leave a comment below and let me know. What do you see in the shadows? Until next time, I'm Anonymous, and this is Conspiracy Anonymous. Thanks for listening to Conspiracy Anonymous. This is where the internet's darkest stories, true crime, and conspiracy theories come out of the shadows. You can find the full video episodes on YouTube, and can expect new episodes dropping regularly on both Spotify and YouTube. Until next time, keep questioning what you think you know.